But, this study, Clay, said that lockdowns, this was out of Johns Hopkins University, numerous statisticians, data analysts looking at all of the numbers. This is just the numbers that are out there on deaths, on duration of lockdown, where it occurred, per capita, everything. And this is what they found in this study out of Johns Hopkins. It reduced mortality, the lockdowns, folks, the actual shelter in place, stay home, shut down your businesses. They think it reduced mortality during the lockdown, 0.2%. They found that shelter-in-place orders, that's the extension of the lockdown, the most extreme lockdowns, reduced COVID mortality by 2.9%. They also, in the study, said this quote, which I think says it all, Clay: lockdowns should be rejected out of hand, as in this was disastrous and wrong and should never be repeated.
Prediction. Within a year, you will hear almost no one saying that kids should have ever been masked. It will be like defund the police. You know how right now and people say, oh, I never said defund the police, and you have to go back now and grab their clips and say, you legitimately said defund the police. You said, and when I say defund the police, I mean defund the police. That's what you said. A lot of people are going to say, well, I never really thought masks on kids made any sense, but what else were you going to do? Within 5 to 10 years, Buck, everything that we did to respond to COVID, everyone is going to pretend that they were saying what you and I have been saying for the last 2 years. Just like you cannot find anyone in the entire United States now who says, you know what, I supported the Vietnam War, and it was a really good idea to have fought that war. Remember, all of the quote-unquote experts told us that fighting in Vietnam was a necessity. They told us we had to be there. The best and brightest minds of America led to the Vietnam War. They were wrong. And now it's pretty much universally understood that they were wrong. Well, the quote-unquote best and brightest, the experts, all told us that we had to lock down. They said that our kids couldn't be in school. They said that our kids had to wear masks. They told us that we had to get the vaccine or we were going to lose our job. They told us that the vaccine would stop the spread of the virus and would prevent it from continuing to go around the world. They told us all that. They told us 6 feet of separation made sense. Buck, in your home city of New York, they drew circles in parks and told people to sit there. They've made children go outside and eat while masking between bites, sitting on little stools in cold weather climates. This has all been madness. And all I would say to everybody out there is, remember who was telling you all this when it wasn't acceptable to say it. And hold the politicians who argued otherwise accountable.
Just because I think, we'll use this historical analogy because we're more able to talk about it. You think about in the Soviet system, people that were going along with what I refer to as the apparatus, and I think it's very accurate for what you're seeing from the Democrat media and Democrat Party in this country now, people went along with it. They didn't think they were the bad people. They always were able to convince themselves while they were benefiting from it and while their team was in charge that this was the best we had, that this was necessary. There were external enemies. You can rationalize anything for your own benefit, whether it's just emotional, psychological, or also financial, and when it comes to power. And there's going to be, Clay, a major reckoning for a lot of people who went along with Fauciism. It's going to take them a while, but they're going to have to turn around and realize that people's livelihoods were taken from them, their businesses were destroyed. There were over 100,000 drug overdoses, an all-time high. They have delayed in a way that will permanently affect children and disproportionately minority children in this country. Their learning, their progress, they've put them through a tremendous ordeal for no good reason, that they even engaged in state mandated. You mentioned the eating of lunch outside in the cold with a mask on. That is state mandated child abuse. I mean, I remember I was at a camp and there was a counselor who, would they take the towel, a rat tail, hit one of the kids with it. He was out that day, right? I mean, they fired him right away. And they said, you can't ever strike a child in your employ. Can you make a child sit outside in 30-degree weather with a mask on because you feel like it? Does that strike anybody as that is child abuse? And Fauci sat silently by or encouraged this the entire time. I think a lot of people are going to have some real reckoning, some real soul searching to do over this. It's going to take them a while.
No doubt. How about taping masks on kids' faces? That's child abuse.